How do people fall in love today? Through Tinder, through Bumble, and I've heard LinkedIn also works great. But one question intrigues me a lot. Today, even before you've met the person, forget about falling in love, even before you've met them for the first time, you seem to know everything about them, their likes, their dislikes, their hopes, their dreams. If you go to their Instagram profile, I bet you can even find out what did they have for lunch last afternoon. But this was not the case always. Back in the days, like 20, 40 years ago, love was slow. You met the person, and with each conversation, one meeting at a time, one conversation at a time, you got to know them a little better. You got to fall in love with them a little more. But today, I'm not going to talk about love of yesterday versus love of today. I'm going to talk about a third kind of love. Is it possible to ever fall in love with someone you have never ever met in your life? You've not seen them, you don't know how they look, not even a glimpse. Impossible. No, possible. That is what today's story is about. And because it's an old-fashioned story, I thought why not present it in the old-fashioned way. So we are going to have episode 1 this week, and with some patience, we are going to see the second episode next week. Interesting, right? So let's jump right into it. Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Stuti, that is YOLO, and you're watching
The Stuty Show. Tales say more than they seem.
the hero of our story. His name is Govind. Govind came from the village. Many years ago, his father had passed away. He was very poor, but he was young and he was ambitious. He wanted to study in college. So he moved from the village to the city. And through one of his father's old acquaintances, he met a man named Lala in the city. Lala was one of the most wealthy, most successful flour mill owners of the city. And Lala generously offered Govind a room, a very tiny room to stay in next to his flour mill. And in exchange, Govind would have to do the ledger accounts for the mill every evening for 1 or 2 hours. Govind gladly agreed because this was like fortune smiling right at him. He could go to college during daytime and he could actually spend just a couple of hours doing the accounts in the evening for a free stay in the city. Now, Govind had one passion, books. Every single penny that he saved, he would spend it in buying books. He bought novels, magazines, he bought poetry books, he bought story books, anything and everything. His room almost looked like the mini library. Now, a few weeks passed. One evening, Lala's younger son, Ram, he happened to walk across Govind's room and he peeked inside and he was amazed to look at all the books. Govind noticed that. He offered Ram one book. Ram readily agreed, he nodded and he ran away with the book. A few days passed, Ram returned the book, and with that, a new tradition started. Every few days, Govind would lend a book to Ram and Ram would return it a few days later. A few months passed like that. One day, Ram came back and he returned the book, and this time he said, Lakshmi really enjoyed it and she's asked if you can actually give her another book by the same author. Govind was a bit puzzled because it had been a few months since he was living there, and Lala's mill was on the ground floor and his family stayed in the house on the first floor. So over these months he had almost seen all the family members, he had heard their names, but he had never heard the name Lakshmi. This was the first time that he had heard this name. But he was curious, but he did not want to ask too many questions. He didn't want to interfere in Lala's personal family matters. With this, another tradition started. Ram started coming and borrowing books for Lakshmi. So now Govind was lending books to Lakshmi via Ram. A few months passed like this. Now Govind gradually started getting very intrigued by this character, Lakshmi. He had never seen her, so he started imagining her. He painted a complete picture of her in his mind. He did not know whether she was young, she was old, she was widowed, she was married, she was single. All he knew was she was as much in love with books as much as he was. And that was more than enough for him to start falling in love with her. One day, Ram came and he returned a book to Govind and said, Lakshmi has said she does not need any book today, so you can keep it. Govind took the book back from Ram and he started flipping through the pages. He observed something. There were letters all across the book that were underlined in red ink. Now, Govind was very sure that this was not present there when he had lent the book to Ram or Lakshmi. He started looking at all those letters. He started putting them together. And suddenly he realized sentences started emerging. The first sentence, I love you. He felt a shiver pass through his entire body. A few more letters and another sentence, take me away. He felt a knot inside his stomach. And then the final sentence, or else I will hang myself. The book slipped from Govind's hands. Who was this girl? Was it really written for him? Was she observing him throughout of all this? Was there like a secret window somewhere? Was she in love with him just the way he was? Or was there something more frightening happening inside Lala's house? Govind just could not sleep that night. The words kept echoing in his mind. I love you. Take me away, or else I'll hang myself. Wait, stop. None of this makes sense. How can Govind fall in love with someone he has not even seen? What if Lakshmi doesn't actually exist? What if Ram is playing a prank? What if someone else is writing all those letters? What if Govind is actually imagining all of this? All valid questions, just like Govind's questions. But like all good stories teach us, we need to be patient. So I'm going to reveal in the next episode whether Lakshmi was real or she was just a beautiful illusion. With that, I'll end the episode here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm very excited to meet you again next week with the second episode of the story. Thank you so much once again. Bye.